I hope. Hey y'all, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video we are going to be doing my May TBR. Alright, so before we get into anything bookish, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below, as well as tell me in the comments, are you partaking in Galactic-thon? Are you reading some sci-fi for May? Let's talk about it. Alright, so yes, one of the biggest drivers for my TBR this month is obviously going to be Galactic-thon, which is a readathon I am helping host this month, which is a sci-fi based readathon, but the main prompts for each team will not be officially announced until the month starts, and then one prompt will be announced each week. So I don't really have a set TBR when it comes to sci-fi going into this, excluding my Star Wars books, because of course. So no matter what, chances are I'm gonna be adding at least 4 to maybe 5 books to this list already. Meaning, yeah, it's a really ambitious month. It won't take long for y'all to see what I mean. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in, starting at the top with my usual goals that I do. One that I've been pretty good about so far this year is a nonfiction book. I always try to read about one nonfiction book a month. I really fell off that last year, but so far we're doing decent. And this year I've actually been trying to kind of focus on the nonfiction books that I own and going through and prioritizing the ones which are the oldest. So that means next up is Intertwining by Fran Drescher from The Nanny. I think I got this like secondhand somewhere, but I love Fran. I think she's hilarious. And so I was intrigued, figured why not? This will be a fun time, especially once I saw the back cover. So this is the front, that's the back. It says you can take the girl out of Flushing, but you can't take Flushing out of the girl. And I mean, this is basically just a little memoir about her. I believe this was written in the 90s, so this may actually be taking place around the time when she actually was on The Nanny. Yeah, 96. So yeah, I am hoping this is just going to be an easy, fun read about an actress that I really enjoy. Hopefully, I will finally get this one read. Next up is something that I've talked about numerous times now that I was planning to do this year, and now is finally the time. We are finally here. I'm going to be reading Dracula by Bram Stoker throughout the year, reading each of the letters / journal entries as they are dated. So this book starts with a journal entry for May 3rd, and it runs all the way until November. And I'm going to start this project of reading that each little section for every day. So this way, I'm adding a few pages in. It allows me to work on this big chunker of a book. It's a classic, which is something I have a hard time with. It's a horror classic, and those, at least in my prior experience, I tend to do better with. And then on top of that, Jan Agaton's Layer Patreon is actually going to be doing a read-along of this. So I'm not alone. Other people will be doing this as well, and I hope that maybe that will keep me accountable and stay on top of this. Next little section, let's dive into book clubs. I partake in numerous book clubs, one of which is actually my own. It is called the Geek Squad, and it's hosted on my Patreon. If you're interested and want to join us, I'll put a link to that in the description down below. We would love to have y'all, and this month we are going to be reading Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker. This was voted on by my Nerds tier, and I am so glad for it because I can't wait to get to this. I have literally only heard like 4 and 5-star reviews from early reviewers of this book. So in this one, we were following Cora Zhang, who is a crime scene cleaner, and she ends up taking it upon herself to start investigating some of these crimes when she notices a pattern of Asian women ending up dead. I don't actually know if this is like completely contemporary or if it may have some fantastical elements. From the cover, I kind of wonder if it does lean a little bit paranormal. Also, this is the Evernight edition, and it is absolutely freaking stunning. I do hope and pray that I love this book so that I can present it on my shelves because it's so freaking pretty. So I will be reading this one along with my patrons, and then I also have a spoiler-filled reading vlog of it, which will be posted at the end of May. After that is my fantasy book club that I do in person, where we always have a prompt and then each of us reads our own book for the prompt. This month, that is Dragons. And honestly, it's still April right now. If I can, I would love to get this book read early so I don't have to worry about it in May. But if I don't, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on this TBR. I'm currently eyeing The Last Dragon of the East by Katrina Kwan. I received a copy of this from Soccer Press, and I mean, honestly, like, this cover is so freaking pretty. It says it is inspired by the Chinese myths of ancient dragon gods and the threads of fate, but it looks like the story is following a matchmaker who can see the threads of fate, but unfortunately ends up getting roped into a situation by the emperor to start searching for a long-lost dragon. Yeah, I've never heard anybody talk about this, but like I said, it's beautiful. I got it from Saga. I've been very intrigued to pick it up, and this will allow me to finally do so. Next up for my romance book club, and I'm actually kind of double counting this one, is to read a book that starts with the letter M. I had such a hard time with this one, and I actually mentioned to the librarian who runs this club that this was really hard. So she actually ended up taking it easy on us and said we could also count the series title if that starts with an M, which luckily, the second book in the Moonville series by Sarah Hogle recently came out. This one is The Folklore of Forever, and it also will fulfill another readathon that I'm going to be partaking in, which we'll talk about in a bit. I love Sarah Hogle. I think she does peak rom-coms. Her comedy style just works so well for me. Even though I did have a few problems with the first book in this series, overall, I really enjoyed it. Old Flames and New Fortunes. I think I actually read that for an anticipated releases vlog, so I'll put a link to that in the cards. I honestly did not realize this one had come out, or I probably would already own it. I think this one is like a Grumpy Sunshine, and that's perfect. It is following the sister of the main character from the first, and this one, I think this was Zelda, who was the author of like fantasy books. I want to say like witchy fantasy book. That's all I got, but it's Sarah Hogle, so I knew immediately when I heard that it was going to be a thing, I would be reading it because I love her stuff. So I mean, anticipated release, book club, and it'll work for a readathon. Yeah, this book is doing a lot of work. Then next up, let's talk about my Star Wars books that I'm going to be reading. So though in my canon project, I was right around the point of the Clone Wars TV show, I'm actually going to backtrack now. I hadn't quite finished out the High Republic section, but I had previously caught up. Now, though, there are 4 books that have since been released, so I do have a few to read. I need to catch back up, and this way it's going to kind of work as like a, I don't know, like an episode 3.1 sort of thing. So starting at the top is Tears of the Nameless by George Mann, and it looks like we're once again going to be following Wreath, who is now actually a Jedi Knight, so that's awesome for him. And we are once again returning to these Nameless. While the adult section of the High Republic has mostly been focusing on the oh shit, I just lost the name. The Nihil, there we go. The Nihil, which are basically like space pirates. The young adult versions have mostly been focusing on the Nameless, which are kind of like these sentient plants that accidentally get released earlier on. They keep causing havoc and trying to take over people and planets, so obviously the Jedi have to intervene. I'm very intrigued to see Wreath again, as well as how he has matured, so this will be a lot of fun. But this next one I am much more excited for, if I'm being honest. Tempest Breaker. This one is by Kevin Scott, and it is another audio drama where we are once again going to be following Lorna D. She was actually a head member of the Nihil that had another audio drama dedicated to her previously, where we got to see where she was captured and learn a little bit about her background and how she started working with the Nihil. Now, after some of the events that have taken place, she unfortunately is having to work with the Jedi to go after the head of the Nihil. But she does not like the Jedi. She does not trust them. Scratch that. She doesn't like anybody, and she doesn't really trust anyone either, which is why I have so much fun with her. So I'm really excited to return to this character. I can't freaking wait for this. Lastly, for this little section, as I said, I am actually going to be partaking in another readathon. Remember I said at the start of this video, this is a very ambitious TBR. So along with Galactic-thon, Squash That series actually is coming back this month, and I have to participate because this gives me an excuse to really work on my series. This readathon was originally created by Is Bailey Reading. I'll put a link to her in the cards up above as well as in the description down below, but this one is actually being hosted by Lizzie at Lizzie's Literary Life. And so the theme for this one is spring cleaning, and there's multiple different challenges. You're trying to like clear out this little blueprint of a house, and so they have a lot of different prompts. You can double up, you can triple up, you can focus on a single room, you can focus on the whole house. If I was being really ambitious, I would say the whole house. I maybe have made a TBR for the whole house. Do I think that'll actually happen? No. So I'm not gonna give that whole list out. I'll just tell y'all the ones that I actually think I could manage to finish in that week. Starting at the top is Along Came Amor by Alexis Daria. This is the third in her Primas of Power series. I actually have an arc of this one, so I need to get it read here soon anyway. So this one is following Ava, who has honestly kind of lost what life she had after her divorce. She really just goes to work and goes home. But she ends up meeting Roman at her cousin's engagement party, and the two hit it off, and she decides, you know what, she's gonna throw caution to the wind for the first time and have a one-night stand. It should be simple, no strings attached, but But of course, both of them are involved in the wedding and they keep running into each other. They keep being forced together, and it's getting harder to deny just how charming he is. I am really excited for this one. All of the books in the series have just been a good fun time, and so I'm excited to officially close it out. Like I said, I also have an arc of this one. Shout out to NetGalley, the publisher and the author, for that. And it'll help me close out a series, which is something I really need to do. One that I am, unfortunately, a little less excited to pick up, but planning to do so anyway, is Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. This is the second in her Secrets of the Nile series. I really, really enjoyed the first half of the first book in this series, What the River Knows. But around the halfway point, things started to take a turn. The characters started to make decisions I did not agree with. It seemed like certain situations were happening purely to further the plot, but didn't actually make sense for the characters that had been built out. And then there's this dumb turn with the romance, and just, all of it together really bugged me. And it honestly made me lose steam with the book. So I've been very, very nervous to pick this one up, but I already own it. I already bought it. I'm just gonna go ahead and read it. We'll see how this goes. I'll probably end up checking the audiobook out so that way I can kind of blast through it a little bit quicker. I really hope and pray maybe she'll manage to stick the landing and I'll enjoy this enough to keep these on my shelves, but I'm not really sure. So the first book in this series follows Inez, who her parents were Egyptologists, and she ends up hearing from her uncle that unfortunately they have gone missing. So she takes it upon herself to travel to Egypt to try and find out what happened to her family, but her uncle is not making things easy on her, and when he assigns his handsome assistant, Wit, to watch over her, things get even more difficult. And like I said, I really enjoyed the first half of the book. I didn't love the second half. I don't know how this is gonna go, but I will finally get it read. As I said earlier, I'm also going to be continuing the Moonville series with The Folklore of Forever by Sarah Hogel. One that's a maybe because it's a sci-fi book and it also continues the series, but we don't know our prompts for Galactic-thon yet, so I'm not sure if this one will fit, is 𝗖ście by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I only have the last book in the Illuminate files left. I could very easily close this one out too. This is over 600 pages though. It is told in multimedia format though, and it is a very fun ride. I really enjoyed the first book. I liked the second. It does feel a little bit like the first, just rinsed and repeated. I'm nervous that the third one is going to kind of do the same thing, but at this point I figure why not go ahead and try it out. I had some space away from it, so that way I won't be comparing it too much. I won't exactly remember everything that happened in the first and second book. So at the very least, I'll still have a good time with my reading experience, I hope. But like I said, this one's a maybe. It's really going to depend on if it can work for the first prompt or not. I still have numerous other books I would love to try and get read for this readathon. Those feel manageable. Those feel realistic. Hilarious that I say realistic when, again, this is a really ambitious TBR. Because I still have my Galactic-thon books to go. So I guess stick around to find out whether or not I managed to actually get all of this read. I would be very amazed with myself if I do. All right, y'all, so that is it for today. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, let's leave a crocodile emoji in the comments. I have all my socials as well as views. You can support me, linked in the description. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you, bye!